Page 72, just a good old tune. 4/4 time, they're in the key of C major. Make sure you can do the C major scale and the A minor scale, 2 octaves up and down at least, and do the arpeggios for those also. You're getting up there where you need to be doing this stuff. Let's take it one hand at a time now to make sure we got this fingering down. You're starting here. There you go. Now 1. That's fine. There's other fingerings we can use. We'll just stick with this. So it's 4 and 1 and 2 and. We're syncopated. In that first full measure, take out the ties and play all those notes. Like so. That's all the notes. And when you have an idea of that, then put those ties back in. You think playing the second note, but just hang on to the first. So forth. The idea is you figure that out before I tell you. You make an attempt at getting this, some attempt at it at least, and then come back and check it. Because if you wait, well, just play it for me, let me hear it. You'll never figure this out. You'll always have to have somebody play it for you first. And that's what I'm very much against. I want you to be able to read the music and figure this out on your own. And once you reach this level, you should be able to do that. If you can't, I encourage you to go back to book 1 and go through it again and focus on the counting. Get the counting down so you understand it. Second line here. This fingering is fine. And this part, watch carefully, slowly, here to here, and when I go to the last one, I want to connect this and this. I can't connect this because I'm using this note twice. So I got off of that note because I got to play it again, but I'm hanging on to that, so it's connected. Takes a little time and getting used to on. But I ask that you do that. That's a beginner's thing. You're getting beyond that now. You need a little more advanced things. Connect those, and then you lift up and come down. And do that on each of these here. In the third line, you get it again. And connect that. Each time you get it. Go down to the 4th line, last measure. You're up here. 5, 4. That's fine. And 3, 2. There's that full diminished 7th chord. I have videos out on these. It wouldn't hurt you to do those videos, actually. The one for the A minor 7th, which is this, is good for you in both hands. The finger is a little different, but it's here. Because I want the 3rd and 4th on the black keys. Nevertheless, it makes you spread your fingers out, and that's good. So go to my arpeggio videos on the full diminished 7th chords and do those based on A. A full diminished 7th chord many times is used with a minor key. So if we're A minor is the minor key here. So, well, this is in C major, but the relative minor is A minor. Do the diminished 7th for the minor, the A minor. Doesn't really make any difference. You could do it for C major too. It's the same notes. You're just starting on a different note. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to what we were doing before I got sidetracked. This is the 4th line down on page 72, the last measure. This part. And then here. Yeah, maybe. You don't have to. You pivot over here and use 2, 5 at first, and then 1. That way you don't have to use thumb both. That's a little dangerous. It's doable, but it's dangerous. So I recommend 2 on the first one. This is the last line on page 72. I do a 2, 5, and then a 1, 5. And you can do 1, 5 on all these. You're hinging at the wrist here. Don't use the whole arm. Hinge at the wrist. Same thing with the chords. Hinge at the wrist. And the trick there is get all the notes down at the same time. I can't do that, but you can do that, I'm sure. So again, it would, like so. I think it makes it a little more doable. You get the same thing on page 73. Do it the same way. In fact, all this stuff on page 72, you're going to get on 73 pretty much. Just do it the same way. Left hand, broken chords. They have 4. You can use 3 if you want, because that's the fingering. I'll leave that up to you, whether you use 4 or 3. Or I use 4 there. But you can use 5. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll leave that up to you on how you finger those. Go down to the 4th line. You're up here. B flat. F sharp there. And then broken octaves. And then the chord. Oh, and that's pretty much it for the left hand. Put them together. Give you a rest in the left hand there. That lets you have time to move up. Isn't that nice of them? You can tell a piano player wrote this. Because a non-piano player wouldn't have given you a rest in the left hand. They would have had you... I mean, it's doable, but it's nice to have the rest there. So put the heads together, some speed, nice and slow, and then get rid of all the hesitations, because it needs to be a steady beat at some speed. Then we can add in the articulation, and there isn't a lot of articulation going on. I would separate the left hand. They don't have to be short. No, just separate it. Let it bounce along. Then connect the right hand. And then down toward the bottom, you start getting accents. That'll be the 4th line down, last measure, accent. Add accent. Accent. If you're wondering, why are they accenting that? Why is it accented? Well, probably because it's syncopated. And we typically will accent a syncopated note. I mean, when you get in interpreting the music, that's one of the things you can do. If you have to experiment and see if you like it, but you can give a little extra if it's a syncopated note. You're playing it when you don't expect to, so let it ring. So it's here. And again, I'm separating these. Accent. And then so forth. And that's pretty much it for the articulation. Dynamics, so mostly the right hand. What do you think moderately loud is? Keep the left hand in the background. Loud. Come down. See, those are loud and this other part is a little lower. And you get that in a few places. 4th line down, last measure. This is loud. The accent will make that one note very loud though. And then you're going to decrescendo down to about a moderately loud. Don't go much. And then the accent, those will be loud again. Those are very loud. Because of the accents, they're going to be very loud, probably. I'm guessing very loud. Maybe just loud. Experiment and see what you think. And then going on, it's soft. And then it's like the answer to the statement is the loud one. So the statement is soft. Reply. So and that's important. The soft, moderately loud, going back and forth. Yeah. You're kind of doing that. Now, let's talk about this last line on page 73. The coda. Because the notes aren't bad yet. Okay. But they got notes there. Play both hands 8 VA first time. So instead of here, you're going to be up here. You just pretend middle C goes up an octave. And then the second time, both hands are local, or means where they're written. So you come back down here. Second time. Well, Can we get to here? Where do we go to the coda? Let's talk road map. They got things going on here. Obviously, start at the beginning. Duh. There's no repeat signs anywhere, so until you get to the fourth line on page 73. At the end, there's a DC all sign, then coda. A little too much information. DC all coda is really all you need. DC means go back to the beginning. Just go there, don't ask questions, just do it. Go, question. Then the sign for the coda is at the end of the fourth line on page 72. You see the circle with the crosshairs? So once you finish that measure, you immediately jump over to the coda. Well, there's a sign at the beginning, a note, I should say, at the beginning above, is second time only, both hands 8 VA. Well, there are no repeats in it, but there's a DC. So when you do the DC, that is the second time. So you're going to finish the DC here, and then when you go back to the beginning, you gotta, both hands got to come up. You just pretend middle C went up an octave. So instead of here, you're up here. You're playing it all up here after you do the DC. How do you get there? That's a good question. Because you're ending it here. Now you got to be up here. Well, the right hand gets two beats rest. So as the left hand is doing this, the right hand is getting in position. You gotta be here. So here, practice that. As I'm playing this note, I'm up here. So the right hand is ready. Now as the right hand is playing, I'm moving the left hand up. See, it's like we're making a game plan for a play in a football game or something. I don't know. We're kind of preparing who goes where when, and this helps us keep the beat steady. So again, you're here. This way you're moving one hand at a time because they got rest. Again, you can tell a piano player wrote this because he's nice enough to give you these rests. Other people who play other instruments probably wouldn't give you rest. You'd have to find a way to get up there. So this is nice here. And you can play the whole thing up here. So then at the end of the fourth line, you're actually up here. Now if you have a short keyboard and you don't have those notes, just play the highest C you have and let that be it. But then at that point you're going to go to the coda, and again it's going to be a 2 just like you've been doing, and then this is going to be the G. So it's there. So you practice that so you can get to the coda fine without messing up the beat. As far as speed goes, it says happily, so with me it depends on what time of day it is, how much coffee I've had, how much wine I've had, how much beer I may have, what mood I'm in. It says happy. It's not a thing you're going to play somebody to sleep with. It's more like a party song. Then there's a note at the bottom of the page 72 saying we can play the whole thing with a swing rhythm. It doesn't use those words, but that's what it means. It's like blues, swing, and jazz I've talked about before. You swing the eighth notes. You swing the counting. 1 and 2 and 3. There's no notation for it. You have to feel it. And they're saying you can do this in a swing style. Dressed. notice at the end, on the first ending there on the coda, the bottom of page 73, you have the tune, you have the two little X things. Again, we've talked about those previous. This is another thing they're used for. If you want people to say something, you put in those to tell them when to say it. Sometimes you give them a rhythm, sometimes you don't. Here, they're quarter notes. So you do it on the beat. So it's once more. Well, and if people are around having fun, they're the ones who say once more. And as long as they keep saying once more, you got to keep going. I don't know. That's the way it's done. If you want people to say things in you use the little X's. If you give them notes, they'll sing it. You don't want them to sing it, you want them to say it. So you use the X's. Yeah.